Hi there. My name is Melissa Vert. I'm the Fellowship and Grants Coordinator at the International Institute, in our Fellowship and Grants team. And I am here to tell you a little bit about the Fulbright program and effectively get on to the point of why we're all here today, which is that it is now past the Fulbright campus deadline. So this means that if you are here, that may be because you either are really desperate for additional information on your application, you've already submitted it, or you have an idea that you want to submit an application to the Fulbright program, but you have missed our campus deadline. I want to make sure that I say right at the top of this that this is the Fulbright U.S. student program. So this is for all people who have U.S. citizenship, who are in the United States and who are intending to try to get out of the United States to go to another country. There are a number of different Fulbright programs. So just in case you may have stepped into the wrong location, I just want to make sure that you know that this is specifically for the U.S. student program. So I am working under the assumption. I also want to let you know, let's see, I'm just going to chat right here. Oh, perfect. Thank you for providing the transcript. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I also want to let you know that I'm kind of flying solo right now. So if there is a technical issue, I'm going to try and keep my eye out for that. But if you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I will try to get to those. You can also feel free to start popping in questions into the meeting chat if that is preferable to you, so that then that way I can answer questions the minute we're done. So as I had stated before, I'm going to try to make the presentation component of this brief so we can get into everybody's questions. Let's begin. So here's the agenda for our conversation today. We're going to do a very quick Fulbright program overview, just so that we all remember what it is we're talking about. Then I'm going to go over the current timeline that is before you for this Fulbright application season. Then we're going to go into some of suggestions that I have. My guess is that some of the things that you're waiting on right now are, how do I write my essays? What should I be doing right now? And that way we can get over into the question and answers and get to some specifics. First and foremost, okay, the Fulbright program origin story. If you are not yet familiar, this originally happened in 1946, a little bit after World War II. This whole Fulbright program was meant to supplant any European funding being paid back to the United States, because the United States had helped different countries significantly during World War II. Instead, we kind of forewent all of this pay us back kind of stuff. And we said, if you just accept some students over at your universities, that's fine with us. And it was such a successful program that it continues to this day. Our biggest point in kind of reminding students about this is that the goal has never changed. The whole purpose of the Fulbright program is to increase mutual understanding between people in the United States and people outside the United States. And it's always worth remembering. So again, in case you came in here by accident, it is important to know that the Fulbright program eligibility basics are before you. To make the campus deadline in the first place, you have to be a student or alum. I'm just assuming everybody here is either a student or alum, but just in case you're not, you can apply at large. People who are currently enrolled students, you must apply as a U of M student. But just because you missed the campus deadline, that's not a problem. There's not the value of applying by the campus deadline is that we have a form in which we've interviewed you and we submit that information over to Fulbright. The absence of that form does not mean you are excluded from Fulbright. All it means is when Fulbright says, hey, these people said they came from the University of Michigan. Did you interview them? We'll just say, no, we did not. And that's it. No problem. It does not mean you're not eligible. What you do need to be, though, is a U.S. citizen. Permanent residents are not eligible. You need to have a bachelor's degree by the start of the grant, which would be, in this case, late summer or fall of 2024. And you can't have a PhD at the time that you're applying. So if you have a PhD right now, we're going to have to find a different Fulbright program for you. You only need language skills necessary for your selected program. So if you're looking at something, you're like, oh, do I have enough Spanish? It can be answered by, can you do the program with what you've got? It is important to note, just for your reference, you can only apply to one country and one type of grant. You can't apply to be an ETA and do research. It's not going to work. It's also important to note that due to whatever specific program you are applying to, there may be additional requirements. Whatever it is you're interested in, you're going to want to check if there's any additional eligibility requirements for what you want to do. What are the benefits? In case you weren't aware, you're going to get round trip airfare to where you're going. You get a stipend to cover your living expenses. You get accident and sickness coverage. Know that you can also double up with University of Michigan insurance. That's something that University of Michigan students and alum get to have. And then there's other potential benefits that may include book and research allowances, enrichment activities, potentially tuition waiver or payments. You might be able to do additional study programs. There may be pre-departure or in-country orientations that you'll get to have paid for. Those are the additional options that may be available. I just want to note here that extensive research support is not often covered, and that I apologize, and that this can vary by country, the amount of funding you get. If you're not already familiar, there are a few different program types that you could be applying to, and they fall into basically 3 different categories. There are study and research opportunities where you can either do independent research or you can go and study at a university. There are creative and performing arts where you might be training in a specific art or you are doing specific work in an artistic field. And then there are English teaching assistantships. I want to point out right now that if you are an undergraduate student and you are a rising senior and you just heard about this and you're like, I want to go in the Fulbright program, I'm ready, get me out of this country. Right now, your best opportunity is probably going to be an English teaching assistantship. Now, if you are listening to that and being like, that's crazy, I don't want to go teach English, I'm dying to do research, and I've been in Europe, I'm on the honors program, I've worked in labs for 3 years. If you have extensive experience, don't let me tell you what to do. You don't have to be an English teacher. You can definitely do research. Or if you're thinking to yourself, I'm ready, I know that my work is going to require a master's degree, I know what program I want to go into, I am ready to go and do a study opportunity, I'm going to apply to go learn political science at SOAS in the UK, that's totally fine. But I do want to say, at a last minute kind of application with little to no research experience, your best bet is probably going to be an English teaching assistantship opportunity. And that is definitely still something that you can apply for successfully with the time you have left. Okay, just to let you know again, what kind of components are we talking about? We're talking about there's going to be an online application. You will have to do a statement of purpose. It will be longer if you're doing study or research or the arts. You will need a personal statement. Letters of affiliation are only really required in specific cases for specific research. Again, this is one where you check the program you're doing, make sure you know whether or not you actually need that. You will require recommendations. You will require your transcripts. And you will require, if you're in another country that requires language ability, you will need to have foreign language evaluations in the language of that program. For arts, there may be some other additional supplementary materials. So just keep an eye on that. Again, it's specific to the different programs you're applying to. So on to the whole reason that we came here in the first place. What timeline do we have left? Well, regardless of the fact that you haven't completed this by the campus deadline, we're still getting very close to the national deadline. As you watch this right now, you have about 26 days till the campus deadline, and it is a hard stop at 5 p.m. There's no getting out of that. And that means that you have to have all the components. This includes your references, this includes any language evaluations, everything has to be submitted by 5 p.m. Our recommendation, if you can pull it off, is to try to complete this application in its entirety by October 6th. That's 22 days. Why would I do that to you? Why am I stealing 4 of your days? Well, because if you submit at that time period, we still have a chance as administrators to be able to support your application and potentially pull it back. So say you submit it and you're like, no, it's got the wrong reference, or wait, I want you to put in a different essay. Then our office has the capacity to very quickly jump into the system, pull your app, and then you can work on it again. But after that date, then Fulbright shuts us out entirely. They don't want us to ruin your application. And so what they'll do is they keep it open, but then only the International Institute of Education is capable of modifying your application. All that really means is that if you really had an issue, you would just reach out to their tech services, not our tech services, and they'd be able to unsubmit your application. But as you might imagine, because there are thousands and thousands of applications coming in, they might be a little bit busy at this point with a lot of other people submitting closer to the deadline. So that's why our recommendation is don't wait till the last minute, finish your stuff, submit it as soon as possible, and if you can, submit it within a timeline that our office still has the capacity to help you. Because at 9 a.m. on the 6th, we still have all Friday to be able to unsubmit stuff if necessary. And on we go. Okay. So, all right, you know that we're pushing it to the limit. What would you recommend then, Melissa? How can we start to make sure that this is all going to work out? Well, this is my recommendation for what you could do right now from the very beginning. Number one, open the application. Take a look. I know, me personally, I have a tendency to procrastinate. And my first thought is, well, if I don't open it, then it's all a mystery and it'll all still be fun. That's not true. If you open it up, you're going to see that there's only a few components to this. Yes, you got your essays, but the truth is we got some of the short answer questions, and we can get those all figured out. If you just started your application, now you're in the system, and you are able to both get messages from us if you feel like it, but also from the International Institute of Education. They'll be able to keep tabs on you or support you or give you more information. So if you haven't done that yet, go in, get your preliminary information started. And then once you finish that basic information, go to the recommendation and language evaluation portion. Why? Because step number 2, most critical, is if you require foreign language skills for your program, you need to get evaluated as soon as possible. If you get evaluated as soon as possible, that means you are taking out the need to have someone come and evaluate you for that language. And you're going to want to, if you're soliciting people to evaluate your language, what they're going to say is, well, what do I have to do? Do you want me to write you a letter? Is there a specific test I have to give you? What are the parameters? So you're going to want to go to that language recommendation area so you know exactly what instructions to give these people. Similarly, you are also going to want to get your recommenders lined up as soon as possible. And then for the same reasons, you want to be able to give them the instructions. They aren't just going to write you a paper. It's not just a letter. They go in, there's a specific form that you have to fill out. So when you do that, I see it, by the way, I just want to let you know, I see some questions coming in. I'm going to save them. I'm going to get to them. But I just want to let you know they're coming in. So when you go over there, make sure you're checking out all the parameters that your recommenders are going to need to complete so that you can give them that information very quickly. And then that way they can make a determination as to whether or not they're capable of helping you. You may think to yourself that 22 days or 26 days is such a very short amount of time for recommenders. And you're not entirely wrong. But the truth of it is that this is not as complex as it may appear. And that a lot of your faculty members, people who have been doing work with you, your collaborators, they're probably a little bit familiar with offering recommendations in the first place. It's ain't their first rodeo. So as long as you get ahead of it and tell them, look, we still have plenty of time. This is going to be due in October. I would give them the October 9th date to do it by. Then they can start getting the ball rolling. Additionally, I would really encourage, if you've got the space, if you can find one, get a backup. If you have a backup reference, you'll have the opportunity to have that all taken care of just in case somebody has to drop out. I realized I forgot a couple things about the foreign language skills, and so I'm just going to go back to that really quickly. Make sure that if you need a foreign language review, your first person that you're going to go to is your college language instructor first. That should be the first person you go and check out. If for some reason you cannot find a college language instructor or you didn't take the language while you were at the University of Michigan, there may be options for you, but I caution you, we are now nearing the end of this application. So there may not be as many resources as possible. If you can't find a language instructor that you've worked with personally and you need assistance, you can reach out to us. But I would also encourage you to think, do you know anybody else who would speak the language? While it is not preferable, there are high school instructors that can fill this out or family friends who might be able to speak the language. It's possible, but your best bet is a college language instructor, definitely one who has worked with you first. It's also important to note that maybe say you are really interested in going to Italy, but you have Spanish experience. The great news is that you do not need to be able to prove that you can speak Spanish on this program. You can say you speak Spanish, you can illustrate all of the courses you've taken, all that kind of cool stuff, but you're not going to have anybody evaluate you on Spanish if you're applying to Italy. So I hope that that makes sense, that you don't need to feel like you've got to show your chops in that area. Okay, so now let's just say, all right, you started your app. You've got your foreign language people set, you got your recommender set. Now we're on to the essays, because that's the part that you can personally control the entirety of. It is completely up to you how you want to structure your essays and get your short answers done. Maybe you're the kind of person that when you're forced to write a short answer, that really jogs your memory and you're like, oh yeah, no, now I know where to fill in the blanks and I can put these essays together really well. Maybe you're the kind of person who needs to write the essay in its entirety, and that's when you know you need to shove everything down into short answers. The important part is when it comes to the short answers, you're not offering new information. You're not embellishing. This is an opportunity that when people are skipping through essays and they're trying to jog their memory, like who was that student who did the thing? What's their plan? That they have a very brief synopsis of what it is you plan to do. It does not require emotion. It does not require fanfare. It's just, I plan on going to Spain. I'm going to be researching business and technology in Spain. My project is going to be on building an AI robot that can make tortilla de patatas in record time. You just want it to be very brief and clear so that they know exactly who it is they're talking to. Similarly, with your future endeavors, I intend to go and get a PhD in AI research. I intend to build the first tortilla de patatas robot that's ever existed, that kind of thing. Okay, so click out of that so I can see. All right, obviously, after you've written your essays, please get someone to review your documents. And I say this with all the kindness and generosity in my heart. Our office no longer has the capacity to review additional essays. If you are already in the queue to get an interview, you are in process of receiving another review of your essays. But if you are not in that queue, then we do not currently have the capacity to be able to support that. But don't worry, you're at the University of Michigan. You know many intelligent people. They're all going to be capable of reading your essays. I promise you. And then finally, please, you've gone through all of this. You're going to push yourself to the edge, and I think you really should submit that essay. Don't worry, if it comes out and you're at the end and it's not as strong as you thought it was going to be, at least push it through. You never know what's going to be able to happen. And you definitely are not going to succeed in getting an award if you don't submit anything. It is worth a shot. That was just going to be there. I promise you, I came to deliver. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, I need to know what's going to make, how do I showcase my uniqueness? What's going to be the essay that wins this? I'm happy to share with you that the University of Michigan has some pretty decent tips. We found out a little bit of the formula of what will make a good and winning essay for different applications. I want to provide a little caveat to that, which is the fact that this is still a political program. You may be one of the most competitive applicants, and your application may be on recovering frescoes in Italy, and someone else is doing, gastronomy in Italy. And you may both have very great projects, but maybe this is the 200th year of the slow food movement in Italy, and so they're going to want to focus on gastronomy. Or maybe this is the we have a big fresco thing going on, and that's going to mean that your project is the one that wins. I just want to let you know we can try our best, but at the end, it's quite possible you may become a semi-finalist and just not a finalist. Just little caveat there. All right, back to the essay writing. Okay, these are some basic things that I want you to consider, whatever your program is you're applying for. So if you are going to apply for a research program, you can decide whether or not you want to structure your work to have sections or no sections. But effectively, we need to know what is the overview of your program, the context and the background to the research you're doing, the methodology of the work you intend to do, the timeline, how we know it's all going to get done. Like we're going to start with preliminary research for 3 months, then you're going to be doing the project for 3 months, and then you're going to be wrapping it up for 3 months. You may also require IRB approval. Those are going to be some critical elements. I'm going to take a moment very quickly to showcase what that might look like. And these are sample statements that have been available. Where is my research one? Yes. So I'm just going to show, hopefully we can see, these are all available on our Canvas site. So I want to share that this one is, so this is a statement of grant purpose for Kazakhstan and anthropology. And this is regarding this person is doing children as animators and puppets as social beings in contemporary Kazakhstan. So this is, as you can see, they've structured an overview of what they're going to do. They have context as to why this is a critical issue, what their research is intended to help with. They have their particular methodology and timeline. And they also have how they're going to prepare to do their work and their future plans. Oh, I'm sorry. So that's, you can see how they've kind of organized things here if they're doing a particular research program. Boop, boop, boop. All right, next one. That's not what I meant. Sorry, that's what I meant. There we go. Okay, study. So when it comes to if you're proposing that you want to do a study program or a master's program, what would you want to be able to say? Well, first and foremost, you're going to want to explain why have you chosen the university that you're choosing to go and study at. And then start to get specific. You've got 2 pages. You have the time and the space to be able to explain this. What are the courses there that are so darn great that make this university the #1 place you've got to go to? Who are the faculty that you're intending to go and see there? Go and look them up. Go look at their CVs, look at the research, see what kind of interests you. Why is this a place that you want to be going? You're going to talk with them. You're going to do a little research project with them. Have you already engaged with them? What are your plans to engage with the fellow students? Are there any opportunities that are on campus that you're interested in engaging in? And then if your program is going to be longer than 1 year, what are your plans for funding it? A lot of master's programs are 2-year master's programs. Fulbright is only awarding you 1 year. Getting a Fulbright is already a little bit competitive. Imagine trying to get a Fulbright for the 2nd year in a row for the same program. This is really difficult. And so you're going to want to explain to them, hey, no, I'm really dedicated to this program. I'm excited for my first year of Fulbright. Here's the additional financial plans I'm going to go into. And I want to show you, again, another example. So we get to visit my trip through here. I apologize already in advance. Boop, boop, boop. So as you can see here, this is someone who applied to the UK. They applied for public health. They explain some of their background, their interest in the work, why the UK is a critical location to be able to go and research at, why they're interested in the University of Birmingham in particular. They discuss, where is it? They discuss the professor that they worked with and why they encouraged them to go to this program. They explain why the location is good in proximity to the research they're doing, how they're going to engage the local community. They talk about volunteer experiences that they're going to be in. They talk about different faculty they want to work with. So this is the kind of example that will help to identify you as a really good applicant for being in a study program. Next one. I'm not going to share it. Next one, creative and performing arts. So this one is if you're going to be doing creative and performing arts, again, you want to show the tie in the location. So you want to be able to explain, especially if you're going to be producing something, that the location that you're going to is critical for that. Sometimes if you want to do a film, you're trying, especially a nature film, you might be saying why this is the only location that you're doing something in, or that there is specific diaspora of people that you want to be working with. Or there was a really cool one where someone did a creative writing award and they needed to go to the UK because they needed to hear the echo in the subway systems to properly write a novel about World War II when people were using the underground systems for shelters. It was really interesting. So you're going to want to explain why you need the money to be able to do this artistic work. Again, you're going to showcase your timeline, when and how you anticipate you're going to be able to do all of this work. And you're also going to want to show what's the product at the end. Will you be getting a degree at a university or a certificate? Will you have produced a film or a novel? Will you be doing a recital? That's what you want to explain. Again, as you may have guessed, we have examples. There is one that I really liked. Yes, in Bulgaria, the vocal performance. They talked about, let's see, how music played a role in the culture, where they will be studying and with whom, who they'll be sharing it with, what they plan on doing. They plan to enroll in another a summer program. They're going to learn about the culture. They're going to produce they had a recital. So that's the kind of thing that you want to do if you're doing an arts one. And then finally, again, what you may have been looking at is the English teaching assistantship. The nice thing about this is that there is only one page for this grant proposal. And the reason being is that they're all going to be very, very similar. You're not going to have to explain the whole process. Everybody kind of knows what you're going to do. So the expectation here when you're writing is to be able to share essentially what kind of instructional experience do you have? Have you worked with large groups of people or students before? That takes precedence over maybe a one-on-one tutoring experience. Even if it's not in language acquisition or it's not to, children, but if you've led presentations before, that can count. You want to be able to showcase that you're very good at being a leader and that you're able to bring education to the people you're talking with right now. So that includes how you might formulate some teaching plans that might be of interest. You're able to already say, like, look, I already got billions of ideas. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to have the kids sit in a circle and play Duck, Duck, Goose. Everyone's going to love it. You're going to want to share those kinds of skills. You also, if you have any experience with learning language or with children or sharing cultures, that's going to be highly valuable. If you have other ideas that you want to work with the community, often, working in public schools is great, but there might be, let's say, elder homes or refugee groups or any volunteer services. You being willing to get out into the community and showcase your culture and your language is going to be a big part of that. Because, as you can see from the bottom, the start here, and then I'll go and show off the English teaching one. Because for all of these, you want to be able to show the following 4 bullet points at the bottom. You want to show that the location and the program that you've chosen are essential to your work. You couldn't possibly do this project or work in the United States, and it's not going to be good in another location. You are really going to be good at the location and the project you've chosen. You also want to show you are the perfect person to do this. Why? Because you have past experience and you have strong interest in the program work that you're intending to do. And that will elevate your candidacy beyond other people. You want to emphasize all the way back in the beginning, we talked about what's the purpose of the Fulbright program? It's to share cultures. That's the whole idea. So you have to be emphasizing that you're going to engage with the community. You're not going to just do your work and then go back to your home and eat a bunch of Funyuns and fall asleep. The idea is that you're going to be out there and engaging with people and sharing your culture with others. Don't worry, you are allowed, your own personal me time, but the whole idea is diplomacy. And then finally, you also want to make sure that you are showcasing how this is all connected. What previous work you did makes you great for Fulbright, and that Fulbright is going to help propel you into the future. It is okay if you go through Fulbright and you think you're going to be a researcher, and at the other end, maybe you have some other lofty goals that you want to have. A lot of people will come through and they'll say, well, I'm thinking I want to be on the Fulbright, but once I'm done with Fulbright, I want to go and become a doctor. So I guess they're not really connected. They're very connected. Being a doctor can be very forward-facing to patients. You want to be able to identify with people. You want to be able to think outside the box. You're going to want to explain in this essay that it all makes sense. In the grand scheme of things, you're going on Fulbright is a perfect connection to your next work, even if you're not exactly sure what your next work might be. It's okay. It's just an application essay. Nobody's going to follow you afterwards and be like, but you said in your essay you were going to become a doctor. And you're like, nope, I changed my mind. I want to go and become an artist. It's totally fine. Moving on. The personal statement. This is, again, a little bit more. Oh, I forgot. I was going to share with you who I thought was really good for ETA. This one was someone who went to Ecuador. They were talking about their experience as an educator and a language student and how that worked for them. They talked about how much time they plan on being a teacher. So they specifically referenced key components in the program description that says, I see that it requires 20 hours a week. So I'll be utilizing my time this way. So they explain that they read the assignment by showcasing in their essays what they're intending on doing. I do see the time, probably, but this. Okay. And then, let's see, personal statement. Getting onto the basics, this should be kind of easy to understand at this point. I don't think I'm dropping any huge eye-opening thoughts on this, but effectively, why do you care about this location? What makes it important to you? You want to be able to share why you are the perfect person for this project because you are passionate and engaged, and you still have a lot to learn. It's important to note that they're going to want you to know a little bit about the country. If you really want to go to Barcelona and you're like, well, I really love Spanish. I mean, there's going to be a part inside every person's mind who's reading this is like, oh, well, they do know about Catalan, right? So you want to make sure that you know a little bit about the country, but not so much that you're like, I know everything and I'm obsessed. You want to be able to show there's so much more that I have to learn. You might also want to suggest that you can share a lot about your culture in the United States. Again, coming back to this is a diplomatic effort. Maybe the reason you're particularly interested in this area is heritage-based. I'm Germanic. My cousin got a Fulbright one time because she was saying I'm really passionate about learning about my culture and my family's history in Germany. Totally get it. You may not be interested, or you may not have any history with the country at all. I did a JET program, which is very similar to ETA in Japan. I don't have any Japanese culture or heritage. I'm just really passionate about the work and the culture and the opportunity to teach English. So there's a million ways to kind of go at this, but you're trying to show how engaged you are and how dedicated you will be to the work, and that you are flexible, understanding, humble, and interested in people. So some of the impactful tips that I can encourage you when you're writing this particular essay, it's a lot along the same lines as writing an admissions essay to any high-level institution. If you want to have a little bit of originality, I normally encourage a kind of a hook at the beginning. What's interesting, what's something that someone can catch their eye on and make them want to read a story. I don't know, one of my favorite books began with the sentence, I was stealing salt shakers again. I love that book to this day. It's a great hook. What are we talking about? Tell me everything. Tell me more. It all began with a toothbrush. I know it sounds a little bit hokey, but it engages the reader to a moment of be like, where are we going with this? So that they can pull you in, because the things that you're going to be saying are very similar to other people. I encourage you then at the end to explain why this is interesting and circle back to the purpose of your project, to the purpose of why you're going there. And then again, that emphasis again, diplomacy above all. You are here to share with others and learn from them. So these are my basic pieces of advice now that we're kind of near the end of the whole Fulbright cycle. I can see that there are still some people here, so I'm going to stop sharing and I am going to open things up. I have one question in here that I am going to answer while we are still on recording. You can feel free to populate this. And I did want to let you know that I'm going to try to answer the questions here. And then in about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to stop. I'm going to say thank you very much. We're going to stop the recording so that if you have additional questions after this that you don't want to be recorded, that is completely fine. So here we go. First question. When I try to open an application on iie.org, it says there are no application types currently available. Any insight as to why that's happening? That is curious because I personally just tried it out today and it seems to be working for me. You might have an incorrect link. Let me see if I can pull that up just right now while we're on here. All right. Jump on the page. Doop, doop, doop. Fulbright online application. Nope, I probably can't do that actually. So if you come here, we go. If you go here, and then you go straight to applicants at the top, it will say Fulbright online application. That should open for you. Let me know if you have any problems. But then also if you have any problems from that, just know it's run out of IIE. If this is a technical issue, they might be best able to help you. How detailed should a letter of affiliation be? So my recommendation to you is that an affiliation letter, it's as basic as they require it to be on your program list. So if you're looking at a specific program, they may give you some specific details about what an affiliation must look like. If it's not there and they just say that they require an affiliation, literally it can be straight up basic. It can just be like, hi, my name is so-and-so, unofficial letterhead. I know that this person is coming. I'm excited to welcome them. Thanks very much. Move on. My recommendation would be that it is a little bit more formal and says, to the committee, we intend to be welcoming Jane Smith to this program. When Jane Smith arrives, these are the facilities that she'll be staying at. We will be providing her with an office and a laptop. She will have access to our library resources. We will be providing a translator. So if they can detail what they are offering and what kind of oversight they will provide, that is a very good argument for you as a great research proponent. But the truth of the matter is that just like jobs or just like everything else, there are great mentors, there are mediocre mentors, and then there are not so great mentors. And all we're really looking for is someone who can be the warm body who keeps an eye on you for a little bit and oversees your work. Obviously, we're shooting for a great mentor, someone who's going to give you a lot of details and information. But literally just my name is so-and-so, I'm at this institution, I know this person is coming from here to here, and we will be welcoming them will suffice. Okay, hope that helps. I'm gonna check and see later. I see, thank you. I see it worked. Thank you. Excellent. I'm so glad. Knocking them down. Okay, next one. When will the UMich Fellowships Program unsubmit our applications so we can edit them? Great question. So if you are already signed up for an interview, then right now you're in the works. And that means that you have faculty who are checking your stuff out and they're reading your application stuff. The day that you have your interview, when we have gone in and sort of checked people out, I may be on an interview committee. I don't know if I'm on your interview committee, but I'm on a few. After we have completed those interviews, directly after that, your application will be unsubmitted back to you so that you are able to edit it at will. You can already start to edit some pieces. If you have some additional components, you can always walk into an interview and say, excuse me, I just want to let you know that I submitted the application at this time. I have some updates for you and provide a few more details, but don't worry about it. It's probably okay. But the truth is that it will be unsubmitted to you as soon as you have your interview. If you need it sooner, do not hesitate to email us. We'll be happy to unsubmit or add something for you if you feel that that's really essential. But I caution you not to get crazy about it unless it's truly essential. It will come back to you. Next question. If you are a alum, should you still list as your institution or apply at large, even if you miss the submission date? Oh, so difficult. The truth is that obviously it's up to you, completely up to you. There might be a benefit. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. There might be a benefit by applying at large. Applying at large just means you are going to ride on your references. You are going to ride on your affiliates at this point, and that may be just fine for you. Sure looks good when you list and then I get to say, oh, look, one of our alums, they came from us, we win, give us bonus points. So for my personal interest, it's great if you apply as but you don't have to feel compelled to. As an alumni, it is not a requirement. You're not going to get any necessarily bonus points from being from U of M, but you wouldn't get anything retracted from U of M. My recommendation, quite frankly, would be probably go at large as an alumnus. I hate saying that because I bet you're going to be really good, and then we miss out on the bonus point. But don't worry about it. It's not about me. It's about you. Okay. I see a direct message, and so I'm going to interpret that as a personal question. So at this point, it is 5:45. If you are watching a recording of this, I hope this is giving you some really good tips. If not, just remember that you can be going over to our Canvas site. We have tons more information, tons of sample essays. Don't be afraid to go and check them out. You're always entitled to them regardless. Anybody who decides to apply at large, regardless, you're still entitled to all of that information. We're happy to help. Good luck with it. And then I'm going to stop the recording. Nice chatting with you.